All right. Producer Nick has a question for me. It's based on an audience question, but he has a little bit of a punch up for it. Go ahead, Nick. Tell me. Producer Nick.
Someone in the audience asked you how your book 2 is coming up. And I think it's interesting if you could try and compare and contrast it with releasing an album. You know, a lot of times they say that when an artist releases their first album ever, right? A musician like Jay-Z with Reasonable Doubt. I think he was 27 years old. Nas with Illmatic. He was 19. All of their life's work to that point is put into that, right? And then, you know, a lot of times you see the second album is a little bit of a flop, right? Or a little bit of less interesting than the first. Is that how it works with a book, or are you just so dialed into the process now after doing the first one that you've learned from it and you're like, this is way easier and here's where I can improve upon it?
Yeah, so it's a great question, actually, and I've been thinking about it a lot. When I wrote the first book, obviously I'd been a journalist, but I'd never written a large, 60, 70,000 word book. And so I was learning how to architect a book. And, luckily I had HarperCollins Business as my publisher. They know how to do that. But I insisted on writing the whole book. There were a lot of people who offered me in the process, hey, would you like a ghostwriter? And I was tempted for a minute, but I was like, I'm a writer. I want to do this myself. And so looking back on it, the one thing I learned was I speak like I write. And when people read the book Angel, which, it sold over 50,000 copies, which for a niche book is absolutely fantastic. It's in 11 languages. It still sells great. It'll sell hundreds of thousands of copies over time, I'm sure, because it's timeless. But it was very narrow in focus. It was only for angel investors or people who wanted to be angel investors, where 4% of Americans are accredited investors. The next book is for everybody. It's for the world. It's literally the topic everybody's talking about right now. It is big picture. It is not narrow. It is the opposite of narrow, without talking or giving away what I'm writing about. And so I have focused on the process of writing. In the first book, I studied my own writing style, and people tell me they hear my voice when I write, when they read my writing, which is not a coincidence, because when I was learning as a journalist, I used to record myself because somebody told me, hey, listen, if you're ever got writer's block, just record yourself, transcribe it, and then use that as a starting point. And so when you're a subject matter expert, the words flow easy, which I am. And in this new book, I'm a subject matter expert with a lot of experience. So it's flowing very easily in terms of the knowledge I'm sharing. But what I'm working on is the crafting of the words, Nick. And what I'm doing is, because I just read the introduction, I've read the introduction to 3 people, my publisher, Chamath, and my wife. And with Chamath, there was a couple of other people around the table at dinner. And they all responded so amazingly to it. When I write now, when I was at the beach in Italy writing, as you saw on my Instagram, I had a technique. I would write, jump in the water. I would listen to it. I'd have the computer speak it to me, right? Highlight it, right mouse click, text to speech. Then I would take my phone. This is my big secret. I would perform the book as if I was doing the audiobook. Because when I did the audiobook, I wanted to change so much about the prose, but it was too late. The book was locked. Now I'm thinking about the audiobook first and your experience listening to my voice, because I will do it again. And when I would go for a walk on the beach, I go walk 2-3 miles. I would put my headphones in and I would listen on repeat to myself reading what I wrote that day or what I wrote the day before. And then I would take notes. I got to punch this line up. There's a better way to say this. So I'm actually thinking of it more like a one-man show, if you will. That's something that doesn't exist anymore. But if you think about Eric Bogosian, you can look it up, talk radio. He did a bunch of one-man shows that, I was lucky enough to be exposed to when I was in New York as a kid and a teenager in the 80s and 90s. I'm looking at it in a Bogosian kind of way of like, if I perform this on a stage, if I were to say it and look somebody in the eye, when I say this line, does it actually get you? Do I get you on the hook to get to the next sentence? And when I get you to that next sentence, will you go to the next paragraph? When I finish that chapter, do you want to go watch TV or play a video game or go eat food, or do you need to get one more chapter in? And I'm thinking about that. So it's really for me about the prose and the writing. The subject matter is great, but it's not an autobiography, but it includes a lot of autobiographical moments. So that's my new thing is I'm writing a book about a very wide topic, but I'm including autobiographical moments of mine and my, network, if you will.
Good answer.
I'm also working a lot on sentence structure. So, there's the performance of it, but then there's also sentence structure and words and how to phrase things.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to read it. I think this book is when I talk to my publisher, they're like, you realize the heat this book is going to bring on you. And this is the most, I don't want to say politically incorrect, but this is going to freak out certain people in a major way because it is.
I think this book has a bit of categorization, right? You are categorizing things.
Yes, I am categorizing things. Yes, right? I'm building a framework in the book. Yes, using a lot of examples. Yes,
I don't think that's giving too much away, right?
Okay, no.
So in that sense,
it's nonfiction. Yeah.
Rather than writing, it almost seems like the narrative arc of the book is. I'm curious how categorizing things changes that rather than writing it like Angel, where it was,
how to
linear.
Yeah, it's what I learned from writing Angel, and Brian Alvey helped me a lot with this is, there was a bunch of how-tos, but then it feels just like somebody's pontificating. If you don't have examples and you don't have case studies, I've always found those books I'm like, well, you're just saying words. Like, where's the proof? Whenever anybody would say something to me when I was an editor of Silicon Valley Reporter or when we were doing Engadget or Autoblog, when I read stuff and I saw an opinion, I'd say, well, what's the proof of that? Give me an example. And it would infuriate writers because they would say something. I'd say, well, according to who? Who's saying that? You're saying that? If you're saying it, do you have any evidence to back it up? And so I hold myself to that standard, which is if I'm going to make a statement and I'm going to say, hey, this is the way the world is, I want to convince you. And you hear me talking about persuading people when we do these live streams and convincing people and explaining topics to people. It's something I've liked to really do on the podcast. I like to do on All In, and I like to do in my writing, which is if I'm going to take a position, I really want to really present the best case and get you to buy into what I'm saying, or at least consider it through real world examples. So, I don't want to say too much about it because we're going to tip too many cards, but I will say this. I am as excited about this as I've been about anything in my life, professionally. So, I think it's going to be this might be when you look back on my career, this actually might be this book might be the most important thing I do in my career. I actually feel that way right now. I think this is what I'll be known for. Literally the first line of my Wikipedia page will change to this. That's what I believe. I don't want to hype it.
That's, yeah.
I don't want to hype it, but I think this is on my tombstone. Author of beep, beep, beep. Great question. Thank you for that. As founders, investors, and executives, we spend so much time building up the companies and products that we love and care about. But at the end of the day, life is fragile and it can get taken away at any moment. You know that. So it makes sense why people get life insurance, especially term coverage, which is surprisingly affordable. Why not pay a little bit each month to protect the ones you love? It's a no-brainer. If you're asking yourself this question, choose Ladder. Ladder makes it really fast and easy to get covered. You just need a few minutes and a phone or laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithms work in real time, so you'll find out instantly if you're approved. And that's one of the great things about the service. It's just so quick and easy to use. There are no hidden fees. You cancel anytime. And since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time for you to cross it off your list and make sure it's there. So go check out Ladder today and see if you're instantly approved. You'll find out very quick. Go to ladderlife.com/twist. Again, LADDER life.com/twist. That's LADDER life.com/twist. Ladderlife.com/twist to see if you'll get approved. Do it now.